Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good day to you. Good evening. This is USA Global TV and Radio, and we are so thrilled to have you here today. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show is World Jenny's Day. And if you haven't heard of World Jenny's Day, you will soon. It is making strides all across the world in terms of the exposure and the opportunity for people to share their creative hearts in the area of mental health wealth. Let's welcome the star of our show, the founder and creator of World Jenny's Day. It's JENETTA Barry and the Epiphany Process. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello to our viewers and our listeners. I'm so inspired to be back here today. And sometime, I suppose, you and I should talk a little bit about that World Jenny's Day intro so people understand a little bit more about the snippets there. It's actually a timeline. So sometime we should do that.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And JENETTA, there are a lot of things that have been happening with World Jenny's Day. There's a big event coming up, a gala, and some other things. I'm not going to spoil it, but let's take people back a little bit to explain why you created World Jenny's Day and what World Jenny's Day is. And I think that that really ties in with the video.
Yeah, that is so true. So World Jenny's Day came out of my greatest life test. And I really, at the time of it happened, never envisaged that I would ever be able to get beyond it. I did get a sense of it when I was at the most poignant moment after what happened, but still not to this capacity. Because what happened was 18 years ago this year, my 16-year-old daughter took her life after she and I had an enormous argument. We had been walking a walk with Jenny over 3 or 4 years, and in fact, over her whole life. She was always my squiggly, squirmy little baby in arms, always questioning everything and finding life very difficult. So it was devastating for me, and I really wondered how I was ever going to get through it. And I went through the motions of pretending that I was okay until one day I mindlessly crossed a road, partially hoping I might actually be hit by a car and leave the planet. And I got halfway across and realized that I had forgotten that I still had choice, and that I had shrouded myself with the label of the label of who I was, the mother whose daughter killed herself after an argument. And it wasn't, it's only part of the story. And I got to the other side, stepped on the pavement, and realized I had a crossing over moment on many, many levels. And then I decided that I had to find accurate ways to get through it. And it took a lot of blood, sweat, and toil. I mean, I still planned my suicide 3 times after that, wondering how I could ever get through. And but from it was birthed, from the greatest loss was birthed the epiphany process, which I've helped hundreds of people with all over the world, from PTSD to people who are really at their wits' end to carry on in this life, to people with day-to-day challenges. It's been the most inspiring journey. For about 16 years now, I've been working the epiphany process. And not long after Jenny died, we realized that she had died on World Mental Health Day. And that's the 10th of October. And I knew something meaningful had to be created from that synergy, I suppose it is. And that's where World Jenny's Day was born. But if you look at that timeline we just played, a month after Jenny died, my son Neil and I released her ashes over the reef on the coast of Kenya, just south of Mombasa, the island of Mombasa. And I was broken. I mean, you can see one of the shots there as I'm sitting cross-legged at that reef edge looking at her ashes. And it was heartbreaking. And yet part of me, as I let go of that last part of what Jenny was, that last handful of ashes, I went, something meaningful's going to come out of this. And I thought initially it was the book that started transpiring, which was Full Circle Rainbow. So I was going, okay, it's the book. And then, of course, I started expanding the epiphany process. I was going, okay, it's the book and epiphany process. And then one day, through an amazing synergy, I was in another show at the theatre I grew up in Nairobi, Kenya. It was my second home, and I hadn't. There are lots of numbers I'm saying here that are all pertinent. I was 16 when I had last performed there, and Jenny was 16 when she died. And I knew when I walked in that theatre, something meaningful was going to happen, and it did. And that meaningful happening for another time, what birthed a 2-act theatrical production with contemporary dance, voiceover, music, visuals on depression, suicide, and their solutions. So I thought, well, that's it. And even got invited to be performed in Europe because it was so well lauded. Okay, that's it. And then, of course, we decided to do something with the 10th of October because that has a lot of energy. And each year since 2020, World Jenny's Day has morphed exponentially. And we've now gone from being only online. And when I say only, that's actually underestimating it, because Dr. Jacalyn, myself, and World Jenny's Day co-executive producer Madeline Chan and I spent 16 hours online around the world with performing arts and the arts last year. And this year is no different. We're expanding it to 24 and increasing it further by having a very prestigious red carpet celebrity gala evening in central London at the Millennium Gloucester Hotel to close off that 24 hours of celebration of mental health wellness. So that's it in a nutshell.
Wow, that was quite comprehensive, JENETTA. You've really put your heart and soul into this, and I'm really grateful that we're part of this project. So something super fantastic happened that doesn't happen to just anyone, and it's not something that you can apply for. Tell us about this exciting news.
Oh, yes. I'm going to share it just now. I thought what I'd do is share the three wins for the week and keep everybody in suspense for the last one. So the very first thing we had a win with at the beginning of last week was, if you could bring up the slide, Dr. Jacalyn, it's the first one. Yes, that one. That's the UK Health Radio Show, and that's Paul Rees from Wales, and he has a huge influence around UK with this show. I think they have 1.5 million subscribed listeners, and his show is called the Business Health and Emotional Wealth Show, which is really quite interesting because we have, Dr. Jacalyn, you and I, we have the art of mental health wealth. So I thought, what a wonderful synergy. And what a man. He brought out the essence of World Jenny's Day. And if you'd like to watch it or listen to it, you can't watch it, it's a radio show. But if you'd like to listen to it, it's really impactful because there was no politically correct stuff in that. It was from the heart, and it was uplifting as much as it was heartbreaking and insightful. And I really believe that is when conversations change, when people speak from the heart as to what actually did happen and what the solutions are. It was such an amazing interview. I'm still blown away from it, or with it, or by it, or whatever. So that was the first win, and then the next win was something we'd been planning for 2 years, and it finally came to fruition. And once again, we had Dr. Madeline Chan present it in London last week. She went to the Royal Opera House art or cafe, where there was a special meeting of ladies, and Dr. Lady Kendall Jagger hosted it, and she launched and if you'd like to bring it up, this is the video that explains what that's about.
Dr. Lady Kendall Jagger. I believe in the voice, and the voice to stand up for those that remain voiceless. Mental health is real. Suicide is real. We need to do more for mental health awareness, no matter if you're male or female or a child. What we have to do as a human is understand together we can do more. World Jenny's Day represents Jenny, a 16-year-old girl, after an argument with her mother, killed herself. Support me, Dr. Lady Kendall Jagger, and JENETTA, and everyone around the world to eliminate suicide, that you are enough and you always will. Thank you.
Wow, that was really profound. Yes, that was
amazing. And that was Madeline. She came and said everybody here's got to have one, and they all got so excited. They were talking about the evening. Dr. Lady Kendall Jagger's already been with us on our page for some time, but just so special to have her say those words and to be able to present it there in the center of London, with in the Royal Opera House. I mean, how profound is that? Our whole ethos is about performing arts, and there it was presented there. So my heart was very full. And I went, well, this has been an amazing week, because I have to share with you, and you know this, Dr. Jacalyn, there have been times this year where I've kind of gone, and I'm doing this because it's been like wading through mud, because we've got such a big vision to fill boots with. And it's not easy to put together financially. We're a new charity. In fact, the charity's almost registered. We'll be hearing very soon, once the Charity Commission in London has given the final nod. We've got trustees in place, and we're waiting with bated breath, because when that happens, there's no looking back. We can really go from UK and go whoosh internationally, which we're already doing, but there's just something about going from a non-profit to a charity. So watch this space for that happening. But the real pièce de résistance was when this happened, and here it is. Ta-da!
Ta-da! Woo! So special.
Isn't that amazing? So somebody with a very big heart put this together, read things correctly, captured it accurately. I mean, we've got endorsements there. We've also got links to articles. It talks there, World Jenny's Day is an awareness day. On Wikipedia, it says World Jenny's Day is an awareness day that takes place every year on 10th of October since 2020. It was founded by JENETTA Barry, who lost a 16-year-old daughter. The day was chosen as Jenny died on World Mental Health Day. Whilst bringing awareness to teen suicide and suicide in general, World Jenny's Day specifically addresses the destigmatization of conversation around suicide, and to normalize conversations between people around mental health and suicide prevention. And World Jenny's Day makes use of the arts and performing arts as a way to convey this message, which happens throughout the year, with festivities culminating on the 10th of October. And through various fundraising initiatives and its campaigns, World Jenny's Day is actively endorsed by UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. What a day that was when we got that letter. As with British Gold Paralympian Karen Dark, who is joining us on this year's fundraiser, cycling with us through game parks in Africa. And then she's ascending Mount Kilimanjaro, all with a film crew, which we're going to launch in UK in January 2024. So you can see, and all those links were there. And then the Hope logo was used. That's actually an NFT as well as part of our logo. And it's called Hope. And basically, it was designed showing a mother and child and making our World Jenny's Day butterfly look as though it was floating like a balloon with a little heart in there. So that's very special too. That's being used. And you know that you're starting, and it's not just me, goodness gracious, it's me and a team over 4 years, because this is our 4th World Jenny's Day, and you're second, and USA Global's second. So you've been with us half the time, Dr. Jacalyn, which is just so meaningful.
It's an honor.
You know, it shows that we're starting to make an impact worldwide, more and more people. And that brooch, I see every 10th of October, more and more people every year wearing that brooch on the 10th, just like Poppy Day. Just like Poppy Day. So every 10th of October, people go, oh, my butterfly brooch for mental health. And it's happening. It's happening as we speak. And as I've said before, so very special to have USA Global TV and you as a part of that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Really
Thank
very
you,
rather
JENETTA.
special.
It's so monumental what's going on, and in such a short period of time to get so much recognition for this important day. And I love what you said, and I've seen it written somewhere as well, that World Jenny's Day is a legacy that will be here long after we're gone.
Absolutely. And you know what I've loved, I still get shivers even hearing you say that, because from the moment we created World Jenny's Day, I got it. I saw it. I saw it as clear as day. I saw that there are many mental health days where a lot of time is spent in conversation and discussion about broken people and how to fix them. And I believe that keeps people labeled and stuck there. They feel, well, that's me. And then they're having to be fixed by whatever outside of themselves. Now, don't get me wrong. I really believe medicine has its place. I've just had a monumental illness the weekend before last that without modern medicine, I would not be speaking with you today. It was life-threatening. And that medicine, and this is for another discussion, but that medicine and being able to go into a meditative state and help myself to heal, turn me around. So within mental health, it definitely has its place. But when it becomes the only way to sort somebody out, it gets restricting. And so that's how I saw things progressing, and it kind of kept people stuck in a groove who was there and feeling that they're very different to everybody else. And yet, if you listen to people and they're really honest, all of us at some time in our lives feel desperately compromised for whatever it is, whether it's a loss of a loved one, or a loss of vision and focus in life, or a job, or whatever it is. We get there sometime in our life and we're sitting there going, I have no purpose to go on. And when we realize that feeling compromised is human and not abnormal, that's when new conversations can come out. And what I've also observed, having grown up in the theatre and danced and acted and sung, and also the record making industry, my father was a record producer, had a record label. What I've observed is that, after all, if we come down to brass tacks, we are creatures of creation, created by the Creator. So anything that's to do with the fundamental basis of who we are is going to be in alignment with all of that. So when we're in our creativity, our hearts open and new conversations start coming out and we lighten up. We all know what it's like to be with a depressed person. They're dark and heavy. And when a person comes through, their lightness of being is just so inspiring. That's what performing arts and the arts does for people. So that is why the final day of our year, which is the 10th of October, we use performing arts and the arts to celebrate mental health wellness. Everything that's done on that day is uplifting. And through theatre, through dancing, through comedy, through magic, through songs, through bands, whatever it is, they'll go through the whole 24 hours from all over the world, and then we'll have celebrities and others performing at the Gala evening in London. So that's the essence of the celebration after a year of happenings that give insight and upliftment and skills and tools to deal with those times when when at some time or another we all feel compromised. So that's the essence of World Jenny's Day. But the bigger picture, the next bigger picture, and it's not even the biggest picture, is I'm also busy communicating with the Charities Commission to start a trust that after we've got funds to do the next year's World Jenny's Day, all profits go into that trust to start a worldwide benevolent fund for performing artists and artists. Because guess who gets the most compromised most often? All those creatives. When they've not got a job, they're living hand to mouth, because unless you make it big time, it's not a lucrative way of earning a living. So they're all performing from a heart place, but not a money-making place, the majority of them. Or if they get ill, there's nothing to support them through that illness. And especially if they get mental health compromised, this is where this trust will help them. And then, of course, when they get to retirement, so many of them are living in abject poverty, having dedicated their lives to the very thing that helps other people's lives become uplifted. And I've seen that imbalance for many, many years being in the industry. It's one of the reasons why I stepped out at the age of 18 and said, I'm not doing this. There's something missing, and maybe one day I'll be able to fulfill it. And here it comes through my greatest loss. We're starting to make that difference. But the big legacy, the one I spoke about today on social media, that's bigger than Jenny and me, and in the end won't even feature her and me in it, is part of a global movement that's already starting. And that is that we have schooling systems around the world that were born from the Industrial Revolution. There's a wonderful, wonderful video by Sir Ken Robinson, which I often get my clients who are feeling very compromised by life and their life purpose and very depressed and even suicidal to watch. Because basically our Western schooling system was born out of the Russian, I'm doing well now, the Industrial Revolution. And the reason for that was they wanted to make sure the next generation of mathematicians and scientists were really well trained. So they started, the academic side was all about the sciences and math. And so anybody who didn't align and tune in with that suddenly got labeled as a dunce, which is not true. It's just that they were in a schooling system that didn't align with who they truly were. And if you look at it, even the schooling system itself, they brought children out or bring children out in batches of ages, not in individual ability. So it's like a factory line, here we go, we've got year 1 coming out on the factory line, year 2, year 3, and they're all sitting there like, ooh, yes, I'm coming through year 3. And they're even governed like a factory with bells ringing when shifts are over. And the whole thing is really, really very limiting for most people. So I believe the schooling system is on its head, and that it's time to change that outlook and those conversations over and above mental health conversations. And there are quite a few influential, from what I can gather out there, I'm listening to it, they're starting to change that conversation, because the very first thing when kids are ready to go to school is that they're already naturally in their creative genius. You watch it in a toddler, everything is a wonder and filled with creativity. And then they try this and they get the crayons and paint the wall, or whatever it is, they're trying mud all over them. And that creativity is a part of who they naturally are. And it eventually starts disappearing as the years go on. So when the schooling system can make the creative arts, the most important part of being maintained in children and expanded and loved and appreciated, then you can step into the art of science, the art of math, the art of sports, because they are arts. When you get the skills and the techniques, I had a math teacher, by way of example, who for 1 year taught me. I was a D student before she arrived. I went back to being a D student after she left. In that year, she'd walk into our classroom and she put magic into numbers. And it was like doing art with numbers for me. It came to life. I suddenly loved doing equations, and it was like an art. And that's when I realized back then, I was about 14, 15, there's art in science and math. It's just that nobody knows how to bring that to light. And that is the legacy I see 100, 200, 300, far longer than even that ahead after I draw my last breath. So that's where it's going.
JENETTA, it's really incredible how something that was so personal, so life changing, so monumental that if it hasn't happened to you, probably can never understand something that happens to you, to your daughter, to your family has now grown into something where other people can feel safe to come and share their story, and not only share their story, but celebrate their story through the creative arts, and not have to live in the darkness and the shadows, and not have to feel that there's something wrong with them. There's something beautiful about them. And bringing people together for this event is not just one day, it's really every day of every year. That's what you've created.
Yes. And that became, you know, what I loved about it was in 2020 when we started, I got the essence of that. But by 2021, in the middle of lockdown, suddenly we were finding this was happening here and that was happening there. So March had that happening, and then April this, and May and June and July and August. And suddenly things were happening throughout the year that was either a fundraiser or something insightful, or both. And that is where the Safari Cycle Ride was born 2 years ago. This is our second Safari Cycle Ride, starting at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro in Kenya, right across. And the reason why that was born was because I had set an intent to not get stuck just in performing arts and the arts and saying that's the only way we're going to do it. Because there are a lot of young people out there worldwide who love their sport and have no relation to art for what I've just been saying, because it's never been brought out in them and nurtured. But sport has, so they love sport. So for me to say, well, it can't be any form of exercise because it's not part of our ethos, would be very much like this. Because there are a lot of people out there that are cycling because they feel mental health compromised. And so when this was offered to me to go from Kilimanjaro across Tsavo West Game Park, Tsavo East cycling, and ending up on the north coast of Kenya and these beautiful powder white sand beaches, when that was offered, I knew that that was a very important connection to what is happening right now and where we want to go, so that it isn't just about theatre and the arts. And it's opened so many people's hearts already. This is why we have one of our ambassadors is Karen Dark. She is a British gold Paralympian. She was decorated by the Queen in 2017, and she's done phenomenal things around the world. And for her to join us with a film crew this year as our ambassador, and then to carry on into Tanzania to cycle as a paraplegic up Mount Kilimanjaro with everybody there also physically diversified for whatever reason. I believe one person's almost blind. They're going up Kilimanjaro and they're filming it. And that's all because of World Jenny's Day. And that has an impact for so many. And this is what it's about.
You know, we've had Karen on here before, and her story in and of itself is amazing. And then to know that there are others who are joining her, putting themselves in an uncomfortable position, right? Literally putting their lives at risk to go do something so monumental in support of World Jenny's Day is just, there's no words, really.
There really is no words. And this is where it's going to carry on growing and growing and growing. I have to share this, and I hope she's watching today, but I don't think I'm streaming to LinkedIn and YouTube. But just before we came on today's show, I had a Facebook message from somebody I grew up with here in Kenya, in Nairobi, and not only grew up with them, but trained ballet with them and was in a lot of shows at the Kenyan National Theatre with them. And we haven't seen each other since we were teenagers. But she now lives in UK, and she's very active in amateur theatre, really high standard, award-winning amateur theatre down in Cornwall in UK. And I approached her earlier this year and said it would be an amazing synergy to have our Kenya connection, our theatre connection, and every other connection that we've had presented and connected to this amateur dramatic society. And just before I came on, she said they had a committee meeting last night to say that there was absolutely no hesitation, a unanimous yes, that they're going to be part of our 24-hour marathon. And the lady that's going to do the monologue lost her aunt in May to suicide. And there's no coincidence when these sort of things happen. And we're going to do something uplifting with them. We're going to get together. And this is how it's been going. And Kathy kept on saying, it's such an honor to be a part of this. It was a no-brainer. And that is where it's going to carry on. Because this is like the song We Are the World, where everybody who could make a difference in the performing arts world or in the singing world came forward and made that song. And this is the same, but it's going to change and morph every single year for many years to come.
JENETTA, I'm just so proud and honored to be sharing this screen with you today and for you to share these 3 incredible announcements of what's happening. And this is only the beginning. And I know there are people out there who are thinking, wow, how do I get the brooch? How do I get to attend the gala? How can I be a part of the cycling event? How can people get involved?
Well, that's wonderful. The very first thing, and I really thank you for asking this, the very first thing is if you could share everything you get with World Jenny's Day on your social media, if you can get involved that way long before all the happenings. Like we're streaming now to the World Jenny's Day YouTube, which has 22 subscribers at the moment. And I took the risk going, we have so many people following us on Facebook. But if we can get that subscription up, so that in synergy with USA Global TV, there's such strength where World Jenny's Day is able to show the amazing work that this platform creates, and vice versa as we grow this, and I'll say revolution because it goes in cycles. Together, that would be amazing. So if you could share at World Jenny's Day on YouTube, that would be amazing. That's the label there. And anything, if you're on LinkedIn, share it. If you're on Facebook, share it. Let's get it out there. The more who can share on social media, Twitter as well, let's get it out there. So that's the first thing I'd love to get everybody involved with. And then if you'd like to know more about the cycle ride, it's on our website at www.worldjennysday.com/fundraising. And there it is. And you can still sign up. We've still got a few places. It's on the 20th to the 26th of August here in Kenya, because that's where I am at the moment. Sometimes I'm in UK, but I've been here quite a lot this last year. Come and join us, because you can meet Karen Dark and have an experience. I mean, last year when we did it, we cycled past just about every type of animal you could find, with a very experienced guide who knew what he was doing, and backup vehicles just behind us, and some vehicles going ahead with refreshments, so that we were always looked after. So come and join us there if you'd like to go there. In terms of getting the brooch, now this is what I was saying. There are times where it feels a bit of a lone journey still, because we're still not big enough for me, or not me, but for World Jenny's Day to employ a big staff. So we were gifted, by way of example, here we go. We were very generously gifted a new website. I was doing our old website on Weebly. It takes me seconds to update Weebly, but for some reason, I've got this monumental block about WordPress. I can edit what's already there, but to set up new templates within a page, I'm battling with that. So instead of having the pin up last week and the Gala link up last week, which is what we had planned, it's still not up. And I'm now trying to get people together that can help us. But this week, I'm determined that both the pin and booking for the Gala will be available. The details are there. It's just the links are not. And so from this week, just keep your eyes peeled on the World Jenny's Day website. And as soon as it's out there, I will announce on social media. But also, if you could keep an eye out too, that would be wonderful. We'd love you, every person possible who can get access to that brooch, to have one by the 10th of October and wear it that day. I haven't even got mine yet, because they arrived in UK. Yeah, everybody, as many people as possible to be wearing one. And of course, having people attend and be part of the 24 hours. We're starting from New Zealand, working across hour by hour around the world till we get to UK and have our red carpet lift off, send off, and then into the actual evening itself with a sumptuous 3-course meal on top of it all. So just keep in touch with me. You can get hold of me if you want to know more or whatever. I'm on WhatsApp, and that's +44 777 423 0464 on WhatsApp if you want to get hold of me there as well. But just keep your eyes peeled to social media. Please like social media. Please share social media. We're on Facebook. There's a World Jenny's Day page. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter. Let's get it out there.
Let's do it. Let's all work together to help this grow even more. And I want to say hello to one of our team members, Zoe, watching on LinkedIn. Nice to have you with us today. All right, we are signing off. Thank you so much, JENETTA. We'll be back next week. Our next show is coming up. It's Dementia Home Care, starring Tracy Cram-Perkins. So please do join us for that. And JENETTA, have a beautiful rest of your afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Stacks of love to you and to all our viewers and listeners. Mwah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Please do subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV and Radio on YouTube. Bye for now.